Hello again, toy fans. Fans of Mark's Toy Box, apparently, who keep coming back. I am here, and we're going to open up another figure, and this is Skullbuster. And this is actually going to be a dual review, because Skullbuster is going to finish off Caliban for us. So, Skullbuster, I know like nothing about. Pretty cool art. Per the box, an enemy of the X-Men, the cyborg Skullbuster is a member of the villainous gang called the Reavers. So, got a pretty scary looking head. Looks like he's got a skull that has been busted. Which actually shouldn't have him named Skullbuster unless he busted his skull busting someone else's skull with a headbutt. Regardless, that seems illogical. So, I know nothing about Skullbuster. I bought him for one simple reason. I bought everybody else in the wave, and I darn well better just finish off Caliban from that close. So, I will say this, though, and I'm about to pop him out of the package. Skullbuster looks pretty cool. I don't have a lot of X-Men villains. I've got Sauron, I've got Apocalypse, I've got Magneto and Sabretooth, but this one gives me another X-Men villain. So, Skullbuster. Pretty cool detail on the head. He's got this flexible belt of bullets, so you know he's serious. He's got spikes on his shoulder pads, so you know he's serious. He's got that sort of metal arm. Now, I do believe it said he's a cyborg. Am I crazy? Yeah, the cyborg. So the metal arms and legs are probably because he's not fully human anymore. He's part machine. He's more machine now than man. He's got a pretty good sized pistol. And there's a little bit of a holster right here for it to go in. Honestly. Wow. Okay, there we go. It's a big holster, but it fits. With the shoulder pads, it looks like his... that is a tight shoulder joint right there. Oh, it's turned, that's why. With these shoulder pads, his range of motion in his arms is a little bit more limited, but it's not crazy bad. Good movement in the head. He does not... Oh, there's an ab crunch in there. Oh, be darned. Maybe not. It doesn't seem to be working. Doesn't seem to be much of an ab crunch on there. The vest is pretty nice. It actually sort of opens up a bit. So I was looking in there. Man, it really does look like that's supposed to be an ab crunch, but it does not seem to want to move. And I'm not going to flex it any more than that. Anyway, there's a lot of good details on him. Like I said, the shoulder pads are both actually pretty cool, different. So it's not just a mirrored reverse. He's got different arms because of the cyborg nature of him. Belt with pouches, straight out of the 90s. X-Men love pouches in the 90s. The vest, you can see he's got like another clip in there for a bigger gun. Doesn't come out. Actually looks like he's got a knife over here on the vest. So that's pretty good. You know, he's got the same, as usual, double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. He's got some good flexibility, and he looks really awesome, actually. I mean, I've seen worse looking figures that are just sort of thrown into waves. So, looking at his hand, boy, this is going to be a tight fit. But he does have a trigger finger. There we go. Okay. Said it was going to be a tight fit, but it fits pretty well. Skullbuster with a gun. Busting skulls. Skullbuster also comes with an alternate head. So I had to look this up. As I said, oops, I know nothing about Skullbuster. So I know nothing about his team, the Reavers. But you get this alternate head in there. It's sort of a head underneath a clear bubble-domed mask. Looks like he's got a microphone there to talk into, to walkie-talkie to his friends. Anyway, so I had to look this up. Basically, swap out that head. That came off pretty easy. And apparently, that is another member of the Reavers. His name is Reese. It's actually a pretty cool 1-2 punch, I guess. Hey, if you're a fan of the Reavers, then this is a great figure. If you're not, but you just want an X-Men villain that you think looks cool, this is still a great figure. Lots to like about it. He's got a thigh cut. He's got a calf cut at the boots. The actual top of the boot, unlike Forge with those fringes that kept going down, this is all molded together, so that's not coming up or down. The only thing that really moves around on him, his belt seems to have a little bit of wiggle room, but that's fine, and the belt of ammo moves around as well. I'm going to put back the Skullbuster. That's pretty cool, even though I do like this other head Reese, I suppose. So, Skullbuster. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't going to buy him. If it wasn't for how close I was to finishing Caliban, I still wouldn't have bought him. With that being said, let's do this. Let's finish Caliban. Boom! Caliban's complete. All right. I mentioned on both the Skullbuster and the Forge video, I wasn't really sure I was going to buy them. I wasn't 100% sure I was going to buy Weapon X. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I was talked into it. But the main reason I say that is because I don't know. What I know about Caliban, I know from the movies, basically. He's able to find other mutants. I did look up online. This is actually a pretty good representation of what Caliban looks like. But as far as Build-A-Figures go, they didn't put a lot of effort into this one. It's very generic and bland. There's not a lot of new sculpting that went into this. The head is actually pretty nice. And the hands are pretty nice as well. Nothing too special to write home about, but there's some sculpting that went into that. But other than that, I mean, this is like the generic Build-A-Figure that they have. You know, they took the same torso that you found in numerous other ones. I mean, this is a lot like I don't know. It's just it's bland. Sometimes they'll take this same sort of stock mold and they'll put other molding on it. This, they literally just painted it. There's not anything special that went into this one. And it's not really the biggest name that you could come out with for a X-Men Build-A-Figure. So this was it's just disappointing to me. I'm happy how it looks. It looks like Caliban, per the lookups I've done. But I just feel they could have found a better villain or a better Build-A-Figure for X-Men. I think this is one of the Build-A-Figures I was least looking forward to. And it's kind of sad because the other wave that I bought recently that I want to get started on and put together, I wasn't really looking forward to many of the figures, but the Build-A-Figure was just so perfect. I had to get it. And this was the exact opposite. This was like a perfect line for Marvel Legends, this X-Men wave. I mean, we got Gambit, we got Beast, we got Jubilee, we got Blink, we got Weapon X, we got Forge, we got Skullbuster. Skullbuster! It's a fantastic line. Just fantastic. They knocked it out of the park on every one of these figures. And this was the Build-A-Figure we got in thanks for that. So maybe they spent all their money on tooling for the action figures, and they just were like, well, quick, we got to give them a Build-A-Figure as well. Let's give them Caliban. But they could have done so much better. You know, we could have gotten a Blob Build-A-Figure. We could have gotten Colossus Build-A-Figure, which I know they're putting Colossus in a 2-pack coming out soon with Juggernaut, which Juggernaut was an awesome Build-A-Figure a couple of years ago. And now they just put him out in a regular pack, which is kind of annoying because I'm seeing more and more of that with former Build-A-Figures coming out in regular packs. So whatever, there's no reward anymore if you're willing to wait a few years, apparently. I wouldn't have waited for this one. I really wouldn't have. This was not a driving force for me to get this wave. So, hey, Caliban, you know, you helped Logan in the movie Logan, and you helped Apocalypse. No, you didn't help Apocalypse. That was not your job. You did not help Apocalypse. Whatever. I watched X-Men Apocalypse one time, and I hated it because Apocalypse is my boy, and I hated that movie and everything about it. But Caliban was in it, and here he is now. So, you should go out and buy this full X-Men wave. And if you do, you'll get Caliban. Great. You know, it's a nice add-on. It is not a driving force behind this wave. The wave itself is the driving force, and it is phenomenal. Even the last one that I would have got, Skullbuster, is actually a pretty darn great figure. There's a lot of great detail on that vest. Some cool paint on the head. Alternate head with a completely weirded out helmet on it. I mean, there were no duds in this line until you got to the Build-A-Figure. That's my opinion. If you're a huge Caliban fan, sorry. But I'm just not. And I think they could have done better. And I wish they had. So we'll see. There's some other great X-Men coming out soon this year that I'm really looking forward to. And, you know, they could have made some of those a Build-A-Figure. A Mr. Sinister Build-A-Figure would have been the coolest thing they could have done. And instead we're just getting him later in the year as a standalone figure. I mean, if they would have put Mr. Sinister in this would have been the greatest line they've ever done. That's my opinion. And it's right. It is absolutely correct. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'm glad to have gotten through this wave because I felt like I was sort of a slave to making sure I get them done together, and I've got a few other figures that I bought recently that I kind of want to show you. So yeah, there'll be more Build-A-Figures in the future. There will be other things sprinkled in as well. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Mark. This is Mark's Toy Box on YouTube. There is a Mark's Toy Box on Instagram. It's the same Mark. It's me. And you might see more of Caliban or Skullbuster. Honestly, probably not. Or some of these things behind you because I have a lot of toys. And thank you very much for watching. I will be back later.